Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Alright guys, welcome back to Meet the Mason. Today we're in a different location. We're actually in my little workshop here where I make masonry stuff or whatever at any given day. You pretty much make anything you want in here, but today we're going to do a very special Meet the Mason. We're going to ask our good friend Brian, who came by today. We got to talking about masonry, and I guess one of the questions that people have, we have different positions and seats that we go through. You're going through the ranks right now, so go ahead and kind of tell us, what was your favorite seat and why?
Most memorable to me is the chaplain's chair. The chaplain's chair is something that, even though I was invested in masonry years prior to that, that one's the one that really cemented my path, I think, into going through, into wanting to not only learn our ritual work, but learn it well and perform it well.
So what kind of, there's a lot of memorization in there, right? It takes a certain amount of discipline to sit down and study these words. Sometimes you don't even know what you're saying. So we use a lot of weird words, right? So where do you get the mental discipline to sit and focus on that one thing for hours and embed it into that memory?
Well, first getting into that spot, it forces you to not only learn it, but pay attention to the words, of course. And then from paying attention to the words, you start paying attention to the stories. And the stories make it come to life. I'll use a great example here, and I don't think it's off topic. It's physically written in the Bible, but what we call our circumambulation, when we're passing, initiating, raising a brother, we have a specific part in there of a story. It's as we introduce that new brother to the different officers in the lodge, and in that process, I've got to recite a part of the Bible that is a story. It's a story of birth, life as adult, life in adulthood, and death, and how it recycles and recirculates. And paying attention to that one story got me so invested in the other stories that I've missed out on the years prior, that I've backtracked and started learning all of those and practicing it, and really kind of seeing what is more that I've missed in the Bible, just skimming over so many years in the past, just doing enough to get by. Now, I don't want to just get by, I want to excel at it. And the rituals become very important to me because of that.
That's nice. That's interesting, because I think there's generally this thought between Masons and the public, right? That a chaplain only does prayers, prays for food, prays for we're all in good health, and prays for those that are sick. But what you're saying right now is that there's much more depth to that position than there is out there. You want to elaborate?
There is. So the chaplain is probably the first chair in the lodge to where you really hone in on your public speaking. It's the only time in lodge that it is so quiet you can hear a needle drop. Everybody is focused on what you're saying. It's the only time. So not only do you have the attention of the entire audience, and you really want to strive for perfection with that because you are reciting God's word. But it was also told to me one time, and I might be rambling here, but I was told by a very important person to myself that you should always be ready with a good prayer on hand. And I'll be honest with you, I failed miserably at that. As soon as I was asked to give a prayer at dinner, it was like, oh, my size 13 went straight into my mouth. I just had it in my head, couldn't say it out. So, but if I've got a chance to read it, study it, memorize it to where I know I've got to say this specific thing, I do try to perfect that.
I like what you said there. Always having a prayer ready. I personally always think that a man should always have three things in their pocket that they're ready to say at any point, right? A correction politely. Hey, you shouldn't do that. Blah, why? A prayer. So prayer always helps, regardless of whatever religion it is. Prayer brings comfort to people. And I always think a man should always have a cheers ready. A toast. Yeah, I always feel that those are three things. And those are three things that we're always taught in Masonry to kind of have, and kind of get you into that moment of being the person that can talk in a public setting. And I think that's something that's very powerful in Masonry, and it helps men kind of carry forward. But you keep saying, the Bible, and there's a lot of talk out there. Recently on the Sean Ryan show, who I avidly follow, I watch his stuff, I listen to him.
I do as well.
And there was a gentleman that came on and he said the Masonic Bible is not the Holy Bible. You have any thoughts on that?
I mean, the fact that I have several of them sitting on my dresser, I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, it's the Old Testament. It's the original Bible.
Right.
I mean, there might be a couple extra pages, but it's where we sign our names, when a brother gets initiated or passed or raised, and it's just saying, hey, we were in attendance. That's the only extra pages I've ever seen added to it.
I flipped through it myself. And the same thing goes for other books of faith too. There are brethren out there that are Jewish, that are Islamic. They take their obligations on them. So from the chaplain's perspective, those other religions and the prayers, do you see any conflict of anything that can be said that would hurt these other type of religions and stuff? I bet you didn't think we would get that deep.
I did, honestly, and now you're making me just kind of jump at the side there. But, in all honesty, and I'm not well versed enough in those other religions, but that's some of the things we don't speak about in Masonry. Although we're heavily based in religion, we don't discuss religion because there are the potential for many different faiths to be with us. We don't talk politics, for obvious reasons that we've seen on social media. And, we try to keep things positive, upbeat, and in a friendly manner that everybody can join in on the conversation.
That's important.
Harmony is very important inside of a Masonic lodge.
Especially when you have to see each other once, twice a week,
Three
times a week if you're a member of other lodges and other things in Masonry. So that's another good thing as we kind of roll into it. When we talk about the appendant bodies, what are these other secret things out there that you can join in Masonry? Taking any seats in there, any of those positions kind of stick out to you?
I'm also a member of the Shrine, so I am a Shriner. I'm not as active in there at the moment because I'm so heavily involved at Blue Lodge, which is the foundation of Masonry. I'm a member of two separate lodges. I'm the senior deacon over at Great Bridge, which is my home lodge. And then I live in another area called Windsor, and we have a lodge out there called Pretty Lodge. I'm the senior warden there, which means I'll be master of that lodge next year. So I'm heavily involved in two different lodges in two totally different communities at two totally different ends of our area, Hampton Roads. And so that keeps me very active. Too much so to really involve myself in the Shrine as I would like to be, and maybe will be in the future.
Well, you're a member of three lodges. You're one of the founding members of Ghost Lodge here.
That's right. That's right. We cannot forget about our lovely Ghost Lodge.
Lovely Ghost Lodge. So if there was something...
No dues involved here, right?
No dues involved. We pay enough in dues. No dues. No spaghetti dinners, no green beans, no nothing.
Good. No tuxedos, as you can tell.
Yeah, you kind of caught us in a messy day, so please excuse our appearance, but I think it's important for men to come together and be able to speak. And when you texted me last night and were like, hey, I'm going to be in the area, I want to come by, does my heart joy, my little evil lair here.
Now, when I said I was in the area, I live over an hour away, so that's what he means by in the area. I was within that hours of earshot. So.
Right. We talked about before why you joined Masonry in our previous episode. I'll link that down below so you can kind of get a better perspective of Brother Brian here. But you know, and as we stay lighthearted, and of course we always want to be able to bring more brothers out there that kind of want to have these kind of conversations. If there was something, one, that you could tell another Mason about Masonry that maybe would help them in some way, shape, or form, what would that be?
To have the support of individuals whose sole purpose is to make you the best version of yourself that you can be, whether it be financially, emotionally, as a father, as a husband. They're there, good or bad, to tell you, hey, maybe you should try to attack this problem from a different angle. Or, hey, if you want to achieve this in life, why don't you take these stepping stones to get there? We come from a very active lodge over at Great Bridge. We're fortunate in that position to where we have a lot of members. And I know that I've got, at that one lodge alone, 300 people cheering me on, trying to guide me to be the best version of me I can be.
And who decides what the best version of you is?
Ultimately me.
Ultimately you, at the end of the day. It's your responsibility. So now we're out there talking to that Mason, telling him to put that team together. No man stands alone. No accomplished man stands alone. What about the people that kind of see these videos? They're not Masons. They're just kind of like, they want to know more about it, because I've been noticing we're catching a lot of those kind of cats.
We are, yeah.
So if you had to say something about Masonry to the person that's not a Mason, what would you say to them?
The first thing I would say is, although what you see online is very entertaining and it gets the mind going, that most of it is completely just make-believe. Ruling the world, we have a hard time figuring out what's for dinner. I'm sure you've heard that in the past on many other podcasts or whatever the case may be, but it literally, our secret meetings, I'll let the cat out of the bag, it's easy. They're business meetings. You know, are we paying the bills? Of course we're paying the bills, or we can't meet next month.
Yeah.
You know, things like that. So, you know, the secrecy of Masonry is, we're just, you know, we're having business meetings. The real part of Masonry, the best part of Masonry, doesn't even happen in that lodge. It happens outside when we're doing community work, when we're getting together like this, just hanging out on the weekends. You know, this is the best part of Masonry.
It is the funnest part of Masonry.
It absolutely is.
A very cool conversations. So I guess I would ask, and as you're watching this, I guess maybe the question I would have is, do you, as a young man, older man, do you have somebody that you can say, hey, I'm going to come by and just chit chat and have a conversation with you? Do you have that kind of friend out there? And if you're like, man, I just don't have that, you know, I would probably suggest maybe, if nothing else, right, at least have a couple of friends you can talk to, maybe even communicate with. And if they're Masons, non-Masons, religion, whatever the case doesn't matter, because again, no man is accomplished and stands alone. All right, so we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Hey guys, we want to thank you for coming by. We appreciate having you. You know, we can't tell you how important it is for you to do what?
Like, follow, and share.
Yes, definitely. Especially if you got some friends out there that want to know more about Masonry and what we do here. Sorry for the background noise. I don't know if I'm going to be able to edit that out. But let us know what you think down below, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye.
I gotta go feed the goat.
The goat?
I gotta go feed the goat.
Oh, the goat.
Preparation, good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day.